what has happened is the argument, and you talk about this in A Debt-Free Degree, in the best-selling book of yours, the argument against the cost, the extreme, exorbitant cost of a 4-year degree is even stronger and was accelerated by COVID because you can't even freaking go on campus.
Right.
And so it's basically you're getting an online degree. And everybody's going, well, I sure as crud ain't paying that for an online degree.
Right.
And I was questioning whether I was going to do it with a college experience.
Right.
But now when there's no college experience and now it's all online, I'm sure I could just go on Google and get that, And so people are, that is forcing, COVID accelerated a cultural shift in us observing what's happening with higher education. So higher ed's, they're in a mess.
Yes, they are.
And if the Biden administration goes through on some of its promises and forgives student loans, and yet has the hypocrisy to not stop the student loans.
Yes.
See, if you're going to forgive them because they're evil, you shouldn't keep making them.
Absolutely agree, Dave.
Because they're evil.
Yep.
You cannot, in good it's intellectually dishonest to forgive student loans and continue to make them.
Right.
That's straight up pandering, straight up politicians handing out money.
Yeah.
That's all that is. That's not a philosophical admission that the student loan crisis is a screw job on the American public.
Yeah.
And if you're going to admit that, then you need to stop making them, which they're not going to do, by the way.
They're not going to do that, Dave. And I know we're totally against debt, but at least maybe put a cap on it. Don't make it unlimited for these young people.
It's just out of control. Yeah. So, but that's what's driven the cost up. Is this unlimited supply of stupid money.
Yes.
There's always somebody who will take the money.
Yep.
And so, government money, which, by the way, you don't even have to pay back if it's forgiven. So, this whole thing is getting super absurd. So, the guy's Zach's question is really good.
It's really good.
Because that pressure was all there, and then add COVID to it, and you go, well, we're not even on campus.
Yeah.
I'm sure not paying $50,000 a year for this.
Right.
And people are starting to wake up and go, hey, I want a return on investment. I want to get something I'm real proud of for what I paid for. So online learning or reasonable state schools or community colleges or some of the stuff we've been suggesting to avoid student loan debt for years are suddenly much more popular, but that's going to change what the offerings are at higher ed.
Yeah, it really will.
Over time. So the answer to your question is, Zach, if you said, I'm going to put in $200,000 in my kid's college fund this morning, I would say, yeah, I agree with you. Don't do that because the landscape's changing. I might not do that all at once. But if you're going to start gradually, you're not going to screw up having $10,000 in a 529. So let's get started, but then continue to monitor the shift in the education culture and what's expected.
So now, Dave, let me ask you this question. You have several mutual funds. I have not several. I have a couple mutual funds outside of my Roth IRA. Now, let's say if he maxes out his 529, he's already investing in all this other type of stuff. Would you suggest he opens up another mutual fund if he just wants to save more to give more to his kids in the future?
He could just have that in his name, though.
Okay.
And then that could be used for anything.
Yes. Yeah.
You could just go, I'm going to buy a piece of real estate with it. I'm not giving it to the kid.
I got you.
So you can just build wealth, and that always gives you options for doing anything you want to do.
Got you.
A pile of money in your name. I would not necessarily pile a bunch of money in the kid's name.
Okay.
You can, if you want to. It saves some taxes, but you lose a lot of control.
Yep.
Because, see, that mutual fund, if you put it in the kid's name, it's called a uniform, I can't call it out.
Yeah.
My brain went blank. But anyway, Uniform Transfer to Minors Act. The booth helped me out. Thanks, guys. My brain's locked up. But Uniform Transfer to Minors Act. And all that means is if you open a bank account with your bank for your child to put their milk money in or their birthday money in, because little Junior has a little savings account at the bank.
Right.
That's under the Uniform Transfer to Minors Act.
Okay.
Because you can't technically open an account unless you're 21 anywhere. You can't, because you can't do business. You're not an adult.
Right.
So the parent opens the account in the child's name typically, and the parent is named the custodian.
Right.
And so, but then that mutual fund, if we do that, is taxed at that kid's rate. So as it makes money, it has lower taxes than if it was in my name.
Got you. I got you.
Because I'm going to get my butt taxed off. You know that.
Right.
And so it saves you some, but again, it's their money.
Right.
When they turn 21, if they're doing cocaine, they can go get the money.
Yeah. So there's
and
no
so
control.
you lose a lot of control over it until they're 21.
Gotcha.
And so for what little tax savings there is, I would just open it in your name and just book on. But this higher ed discussion, and we've had it with Dr. John Deloney, who's got a PhD in higher ed, and he comes out of the university world, as served in leadership in multiple different universities. But we're all observing that this is when the dust settles on this after COVID, on what colleges charge and how many people attend them physically, it's going to have changed. It's going to have accelerated the change that the student loan crisis started.
Yes.
And I don't know to what extent, but we're going to see something shift.
Absolutely.
To where, my University of Tennessee at Knoxville with 30,000 students, or got a guy sitting out here with a Michigan hat on, the University of Michigan, or the University of whatever, Kentucky or Auburn or Alabama or California or whatever, it's going to look different.
Yeah.
And those are state schools.
Yeah.
Now, if you fast forward and you go over into a super expensive private school, they're going to feel it even more, because people are going to go, look, the student loan thing is so bad that the Democrats forgave it, so I'm not signing up.
Right. Right.
Because not many people are so dishonest as to sign up knowing they're going to get it forgiven.
Right.
Like, I'm going to go get all I can get so the government pays for it. I'm going to get on welfare because I don't really want to work. Most people aren't that lacking in honor.
They're not.
So that it's going to affect it. If they do this forgiveness, even if they don't stop making them, it's still going to affect the perception in the culture. It has changed. It's changed permanently. And you guys check out Anthony's book, Debt Free Degree, and check out the Borrowed Future podcast on the Ramsey Network, because it lays out in detail how crooked and how, filthy the student loan industry is.
Especially
and the government intent behind it.
Yes.
It is a colossal mess. It is an epic failure.
Man.
And you need to check it out. And if you want to go to school, and you should go to school, by the way, education is important. We're not a group that says you don't need to go to college. It's not worth anything. Oh, it's worth it. It's better to be smart than dumb. It really is. So you should go, but you need to be smart about your education. It's oxymoronic to not be. So, and Debt Free Degree will help you learn how to do that. It's like I said, it's a #1 bestseller.